A very warm welcome to all the delegates present over here. Respected Principal, Dr. Mahesh Gawani sir. Respected Vice Principal, Professor S. Shinde sir. Respected Head of the Department of Biotechnology, Dr. Sachin Kulkarni sir. Our chief guest of today's program, Mr. Michael Campbell sir, who is the founder and Vice President of RSML organization. Mr. Pascal Campbell Jones sir. Ms. Dominic Graham, who is also part of the Cultural and Service Fair. Dr. Shyam Kulkarni sir, respected Mr. Rishikesh Kulkarni sir, Dr. Manjusha Kulkarni ma'am, Mr. Hariram Sawant sir, Mr. Mark Alistair sir, who is the President of Dan Jilla Paragliding Adventure Association, Saputram. I take this opportunity to welcome all of the dignitaries at this institute. These are the delegates from UK and France who are present here to establish the world's first biopilot training center with Lagoon Flying Club for area reforestation and ecological training, which will create job opportunities for aspirants worldwide. Before proceeding, I like to request all the dignitaries, since our traditional business, to do the land lighting ceremony. So I request all the dignitaries to please come forward and do the land lighting ceremony.
सक्षम
This is goddess Saraswati. And what is yeah. And this is King Shahu. Yeah, this is the king who was called of goddess. Shahu, Rajarshi, he is the king of the kings, you can say. King of the kings, you can say. Greatest king, you can say. Yeah, that is Rajarshi of all the plants. Yes. Here first. Come, please come. There's Shawan's sense.
सर हां सर थोडं पाठीमागे त्यांना थोडं पुढे सरकारला त्यांना डन
I request all the dignitaries to please get comfortable and please be seated. Moving forward, I request Vice Principal of Shaw College, Professor S.N. Shinde sir, to welcome and felicitate Mr. Michael Campbell Jones sir, who is one of the auspicious dignitary of today's program. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Further, I request Dr. Sachin Kulkarni, sir, to welcome and felicitate Mr. Pascal Campbell Jones, sir. Thank you, sir. Further, I request Dr. Manisha ma'am to welcome and felicitate Ms. Dominic Gray ma'am. Further, I request Dr. Ade sir to welcome and felicitate Mr. Mark Elliston sir. Thank you, sir. Further, I request Dr. Sagapal sir to welcome and felicitate Dr. Shyam Kulkarni sir. Thank you, sir. Further, I request Dr. Manisha ma'am to welcome and felicitate Dr. Manjusha Kulkarni ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Lastly, I request Professor Kadam sir to welcome and felicitate Mr. Hariram Samant sir. Thank you, sir. Further, I request Sir Deshmukh sir to welcome and felicitate Mr. Rishikesh Kulkarni sir. As I have already briefed that why we are assembled here, as well as us, this is an opportunity that we are gathered here to celebrate the Biotechnology Day as well, which is being actually celebrated on 14th November, but it is very special to each and every one of us that we are celebrating prior because of presence of special dignitaries which are not from India but also from foreign delegates. So further, I request our dignitaries to please proceed with the presentation session. Please, sir.
कंटिन्यू
फक्त धरून इंस्टाग्राम लाईव्ह सुरू
कोणाचं
दोन जण बघायला
कोणाचं आहे फोन कोणाचा
So it's like 1, 2, 1, 2.
Camera.
Everybody can hear me.
Yes.
Excellent.
यार किती सामान
Okay. How many people? I think you all speak English.
Yes.
Oh, that's very nice. My name is Mike.
ऐकत
Call me
म्हणाले
Mike, but Campbell Jones is my long, very long traditional name. I'm here on invitation and also because it was an initiative that we took when we met and we created an association called Forest Air. Forest Air is a kind of, started as a dream maybe 30 years ago. When I taught a professor in biology how to fly with paragliders, and he was working in Kew Gardens in London. Who knows Kew Gardens here?
Yes, we know. कोण
It's the oldest botanical garden because the English were pirates and they took the plants from everybody and put them in one place. So the data that is stored in the botanical gardens in England, in Kew Gardens, is some of the oldest. The garden itself is over 300 years old. And in there is examples of 8 million plants in the herbarium. And also, guess how many mushrooms? Anybody wish to hazard a guess?
आम्हाला इंग्लिश
Would you believe 12 million samples of mushrooms? So you're looking at plants on the surface, but what's happening under the ground is even more, much more. So I'm not a biologist. I'm not somebody who has studied in these things, but I have had a good opportunity of being with my friends, and we've done an expedition together because we wanted to follow this idea. Just like in nature, everything that is biodiversity needs air support, whether it be insects, birds, anything that flies, seeds fly. So everything is relating to how distribution and biodiversity can take place. And man often forgets to follow those lessons and ends up making things like helicopters, which is a bit expensive to plant a seed. Yeah. So we are arriving in the stage of this, of our biodiversity is absolutely important. After years and years of big monoculture, agriculture, everything taking the surface of our planet and scratching it with tractors and things like that, has destroyed the 12 million mushrooms that are needed to support the plants above. You know this, and I'm probably talking to you in a way which you know already, but I'm not that clever. So anyway, so going on from that, we met in Kew Gardens and we formed an association to be not as like employed by them or working for them or doing a contract for them. It was more to become a tool for laboratories and gardens to work in collecting data initially and working towards this idea of a more ecological air support system for biodiversity. And that is what forest air is. We called it forest air because forest trees are the anchor of the ground. So it was a good place to start. And also at the time there were the fires in Amazon, burning everything, and we used that model. So Forest Air was created. It was created as a French non-profit association. The reason for this is because France has very strict rules on profiteering. So if you're an association, everything is transparent. I won't linger on that, but that's what Forest Air is. We went to, we set up Forest Air. We had meetings with the BGCI as well. BGCI is Paul Smith. He's the guy who set up the Millennium Seed Bank. He's the guy who set up the BGCI, which is right next door to Kew Gardens, which is an information hub linking 800 botanical gardens around the world from every country. Then his initiatives are well known, and his new initiative now is a biodiversity label for every single country. He's done 6 so far. It's a new project, and he's coming to India soon. What I wanted to say there is that in order to prove that our concept was working, we needed a mission. And so we approached National Geographic magazine, and they gave us the funding to do a mission in Peru for the lomas, which I understand you all know about, in one of the driest parts of the world. And around this we made a film. But the concept was to prove that these little aircraft were able, with the humans on board, mixed with drones, could do amazing work. And this is the result. I will talk at the end as well of the film, but we will first show. How ready are you with the film? Not ready yet, so I'm going to talk a bit more. So carry on. At the end of this mission, we managed to prove that what we were doing was something between 8 and 10 times more efficient than driving a vehicle or going there, or even taking a horse there or walking there to collect pollen data. By using a paramotor, we can do the most amazing things. We can dig down and we can scoop a sample of soil on your shoe, take a GPS coordinate, put it in a bottle, and do 20 or 30 of those line of 20 or 30 kilometers and then come back again. That's just amazing. We can also take water samples from lakes and rivers. Just by dipping your foot, you don't land even, because you're flying slowly and you're very maneuverable. So there's a whole technique in this, but you need to be trained. And the object of us being here in Latour, because I have a very good friend of Russian here, and the Latour Flying Club. It's over there. So we came in order to start what could be described as a new Air Force for Nature, a bio-training program for pilots to learn to fly paramotors, but not just the pilots, also the support that is needed behind. So you have like ground crew and pilot. So our teams will be like 4s. And we're putting together a syllabus to train these people and young students like yourself with these techniques and at the same time to branch them into the biological side of botanical gardens to work with data collection, plant collection, samples, and to begin with soil samples, water samples. Because in order to do restoration, that's where we need to begin. We might have a screen in a minute. Have anybody got any questions? Just at this stage before we start the film. Yes, sir. The reason we have chosen the tour is because of Rashi, but it's also because we did some research here, and this area is seen as the soil has been destroyed by 200 years of agriculture and the cutting down of trees. And so our whole thing is to work on restoration. It's central to India, it's an ideal place to do it. And so the idea is to open our training centre here in conjunction with the Natur Flying Club. So the training modules will be the flying itself. This is maybe 3 out of every 4 people. 1 person being a ground crew, mechanics as well, and data collection, and also other attributes, logistics also, and management. And that will be a complete team. But the idea is then there's a module for drone flying as well. So that's another side. We will be using drones a lot in our work. And then finally, linking us into the BTCI and its 800 or so botanical gardens and laboratories and local projects wherever they happen to be, so that we become like, instead of being like a contracted thing, we become a tool like a microscope in a laboratory, which gives you an eye into being able to collect data and facilitate that side of things, because the desertification taking place on the planet everywhere is what we are working to stop. So I think we nearly have a bit of a film. Okay, these are our 2 logos. This is our website. You can join if you like. We're going to open a new thing for students. And we have a film which relates to our trip to Peru. As we have that film. Okay, sound is coming. In the meantime, if you can go and look at the partner page. We want to interact with schools as well. There's projects for seeding and growing small plants and distributing and planting. It's a coordination thing. We're just giving their support. And this really is a seed of a beginning of something else. So let's see what this makes us. We've got quite a few technical problems today. This is really not. I am? Okay, thank you guys. Okay, sound check coming up, I think. 1, 2, 1, 2. Works.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, here's the film. And we'll have a question and answer session at the end.
Yes,
We are ready. Everybody ready?
Yes, we are ready.
No human ever collected plants here. Without mapping it, you can't protect it. So we went up with a group of parameters. The idea was to warn them to travel to areas that we could not get to, and get samples of very little damage. Landing in the desert, 5 days away from nowhere. It is quite risky. I'm Justin, a scientist here at Kew Gardens. A very remote area of Lomas is actually this area here. My main sort of research area is spatial analysis. On a simplest level, it's basically trying to map and quantify the landscape. We can put out when the vegetation is flushing up. Drones have been fantastic and they've actually changed the way we map a lot of our environment. This one has fixed wings. This is one of our bigger drones. They have their limitations.
Don't forget to do the proper coupon. Yeah, everything else. All of my technical collections are there.
We've been travelling into the Lomas for at least 10 to 15 years. Very little vegetation. But when you do come across the vegetation, it sort of sparks, it lights up on the landscape. It's so ephemeral, it only occurs very small periods of the year. We have a whole suite of scientists there. And in Peru, we have our scientific partners out there. Our main core teams from Kew, from botanists to geographers to ecologists.
Mi nombre es Carolina Tobar y soy investigadora en el Jardín Botánico de Kew. Tengo recuerdos de las lomas desde muy pequeña. Fue con mi papá a las lomas de la Chay, que es una de las más cercanas a la ciudad de Lima. Cuando uno entra, tiene la sensación de estar entrando en una zona misteriosa. Una de las principales características de las lomas es la presencia de la neblina.
Sometimes you arrive at it and you can't see anything. You're sitting in the middle of the fog. And the fog starts lifting, and then you get the whole vista across to the seas, and you can see the fog rolling across the sea towards you. The ecosystem is very, very fragile. Just the sort of tire prints and the footprints in the landscape can last for tens of years. But also the actual dust that's blown off that actually changes the environment, can start choking plants.
Hay muchas interacciones que son importantes en las lomas. La polinización, la dispersión, el intercambio genético siguen siendo temas que no terminamos de entender. Colectamos muestras de una especie emblemática que es la Tinacia latifolia para poder hacer análisis de genética de poblaciones. La Tinacia sobrevive básicamente de las neblinas cuando florece. La flor de la Tinacia es muy colorida, la planta permanece en grupos.
So the issue we have with the Lomas is because it's remote, some of the areas that we were planning to travel to would have taken 4 or 5 days to get there. We met up with a group of parametrists from Brazil. The idea was to use them to travel to areas that we could not get to. Mike has been a parametric for many, many years. We had Marcio, he's actually a champion parametrist in competition, and then Marcio brought 2 of his team with him, Leonardo, Ascenda.
São 3 paramotores, todos os equipamentos necessários para a gente fazer a expedição do período popular. Vou fechar essa
They actually travelled overland in a 4x4 themselves to get from Sao Paulo all the way across the Andes to Peru.
Well, we finally arrived.
The paramedics were very excited. They'd been sitting in the back of a truck for 10 days. They were desperate to get out flying, whereas we really wanted to get a bit of control so we could understand where they were going to go, which things they would sample. Eventually, we had to say, okay, right, do some test flights, see how it goes. And then we kind of bring down the energy.
Agora é a hora do voo.
The paramotor was coming a lot more sort of gung-ho, with probably much higher risk tolerance than we would have. And it took quite a bit of time to actually get those 2 personalities together.
Now, Greg, Mike, go. Sí, like bien, no time. Aquí igual tan rápido. Estoy bien.
We've been trying to travel there at least 3 or 4 times and never been there. So we'd already mapped where large amounts of the vegetation was from satellite imagery. And the reason we want to start with that is to understand how the populations change across these large landscapes.
Otro aspecto que trabajamos durante el proyecto fue entender la dispersión. Como estas lomas son islas en el desierto, es interesante entender qué tanto pueden llegar a la siguiente loma y mantener el flujo genético que es necesario para que estas lomas sigan persistiendo. La equinacia puede reproducirse de 2 maneras. Una que es la reproducción sexual, ocurre a través de la polinización, y el segundo modo que tiene la equinacia de reproducirse es clonal. Parte de las hojas se caen, empiezan a rodar a través del desierto con las condiciones adecuadas, crece una nueva planta de equinacia.
We had to train them in how to collect plants.
First, we don't know what species is there. That's almost like living on the moon. This whole area, we've worked for 10 years to get to protect this environment.
So we'd already mapped where large amounts of the vegetation was from satellite imagery. So they were flying up to 14 kilometers. We gave the paramotors points to go to and actually collect specimens from those areas. I mean, the paramotor sport is a very risky sport.
Una de mis primeras reacciones fue, yo no voy a volar con los paramotoristas.
You are in the air, you are driven by a very large petrol motor behind you, but we have the added aspect here, you're in the middle of the desert. If they get stuck at any point, or if there's a breakage of any of the equipment, we cannot get into their area to get them out.
We're just going to see how strong the wind is here. We are in a bit of a venturi.
It was one of the hardest bits, because the wind is essentially either coming from the wrong direction, or you got turbulence.
It's very, very strong.
So the forest air team has decided not to go tonight. We're going to have a very busy morning and we're going to start very early.
I think tomorrow
Very early.
Etiqueta, florida. E agora colher, vamos colher.
Abacaxi?
Isso.
Fantastic. No human ever collected plants here.
Really?
Yeah, first time.
That made me feel
I think it was the biggest achievement of the project. We're hoping to get this area protected, and we're actually really close at the moment. To actually send someone to an area that would take so long for us to travel, it's something incredibly exciting. To some degree, in the future, we will never know they were there, except for the specimens we now have in queue.
Mirar otra vez a las muestras, llegan aquí y están acá. Sí, es gratificante. El material que hemos colectado ahora no es solamente útil para la investigación que estamos haciendo ahora, sino para muchas más que vendrán en el futuro.
Brazilians are fantastic to travel with. I spent 6 weeks in that truck. I never had a single argument. We never had a single argument or anything like that. It was just wonderful to be with. And the excitement of doing such a fabulous mission was just extraordinary. So what was amazing is because of some of the photography that we took at high altitude, and also some of the surveys we managed to do, we discovered two things. One is the amount of damage being done by vehicles driving, just free riding across the desert, straight through areas of high sensitivity. We used those photographs with the government in Peru and got the area protected, which was amazing because low mass is pretty rare. It develops only where the hills are a certain shape. And that was the other thing we discovered. Everybody was on about the fog low mass and where it was happening, but in fact, along that entire coastline, I think it's 2,000 kilometers, the real centers of low mass are only in 3 areas. And we're talking about something 20, 30 kilometers long by a couple of kilometers wide. And then those areas distribute their seeds with the wind and everything, and when the rains do come, the desert just explodes. So it was the most wonderful experience to go to this particular area. And many of you already know that the low mass is the origins of a lot of the vegetables we eat today, including the potato, the tomato, celery, even I believe cotton originated there. I'm probably wrong on that one. But it's just, low mass was a very special treasure chest of DNA that is going to be needed for plants that grow in dry conditions, and we need to go back in the DNA in order to reinforce the stock of plants that we need for the future. So it was a wonderful mission. The thing about the double leading edge on the hills, that was unknown to the scientists, and it was interesting because it was the paramotists that picked out on that. Is because it's so dry, there's no valleys cutting their way towards the sea, which means you get these long ridges. And if the ridges were forming in a double thing, a double curve, what was actually happening is the air was coming off the sea, creating one rotor of intense fog. And then the next layer would create the second one behind, and only in that area would there be enough water for the low mass to exist. And that was an amazing discovery as well. So combined with laboratories, the eyes in the sky, the work that you can do as a flying insect, as a lightweight thing was kind of proven in Peru. So there we documented everything, how much fuel we used, how long it took to train a pilot to label that particular plant, how to recognize that plant, every detail, comparing it with four-wheel drives and walking there. Many different ways of documenting and recording exactly what we did. And at the end of it, Justin and Ollie wrote a scientific document that was then published. It took 1 year to publish it. It was published in People's Plants and Planet, I think. I probably got that wrong too. That's right, okay. And of course, as a scientific publication, it now can be used for funding purposes. It can be used for all sorts of things. But in general, I can tell you that the methods using this type of detection of data for plants, and not just plants, water, irrigation, all sorts of things, far more efficient than any other way, something like 8 to 10 times more efficient than going there in a vehicle and walking around and trying to take samples. So, I mean, the future is in that type of thing. And so the initiative that we've taken here is to start the very first international school of biodiversity, biopilots in a structured, safe environment which we intend to build for like teamwork. So it's a bit like diving, paramotoring. You're watching out for your mate all the time. That's why we never flew in the desert with less than 3 people. So if something goes wrong, one guy can land, look after that guy, and the other one can go and get help. So there is a system in place, and depending on the type of mission, you organize your group differently. There are 3 different levels of pilot that we have identified already. And so you can be like a pilot that is working in a very advanced pilot will be going after more extreme conditions, like for instance in the jungle, where it's more dangerous and you need more training. You need survival training in addition to what you're doing. So there's going to be different tiers, but this is really the beginning. We had a very interesting meeting yesterday with the district yeah. And we're looking at trying to start our centre around here and do our experiments here. So which brings you into your completely central here. So there will be through that the recognition of the stage, we call it stage in French, how would you put it? A course. A course. We're intending to do something that lasts about 6 months. Thereabouts, because of the monsoons here as well, it makes sense to do it in that time. There is also a part that will happen in botanical gardens. We have some partnerships with the BDCI. Some are based in Mumbai, some are based in Hyderabad. But also with your facility here, which I've only just discovered today, it's amazing. I like your patrons. That's close to my heart. Somebody's picking everybody off the street, that's something else. So I hope you've enjoyed this.
Yes.
I'd like to give some questions and answers to it in a short period if anybody has any questions. Only Pascal has a question.
I have a question. I'm just wondering how many of you have ever dreamt of flying?
Okay, how many of you have dreamt of flying? We have quite a few.
How many would you like to fly?
How many of you would like to fly? Oh, there's many more. Okay. So I think we'll start with how many would like to fly. Now we have to put you in touch with the Lateral Flying Club. And I think at this point I'm going to invite Rashi up on the stage to talk to you because he's our local. And just to give you some background, Rashi has been following a syllabus that was for instructor training that was international, and he's been using it religiously for a long time now. We stayed in touch. A man of integrity. We're talking about lateral flying club.
ओके मराठीमध्ये बोललं तर चालेल सगळं माझं नाव ऋषिकेश कुलकर्णी आहे आणि मी लातूर फ्लाइंग क्लबचा फाउंडर आहे मी भरपूर वर्ष इंग्लंडमध्ये ॲज अ इन्स्ट्रक्टर काम केलेलं आहे दुबईमध्ये आय फ्लोन अक्रॉस मेनी कॉन्टिनेंट्स आणि a few years back I decided to start Latur Flying Club to introduce a new form of aviation, or you can say aviation मध्ये introduction साठी हा एक good channel आहे, good माध्यम आहे. Training wise जे conventional flying courses आहेत त्यांची फीस जवळपास 40-50 लाखाच्या घरात असते. तेच तुम्हाला पॅरामोटरिंग शिकायचं आहे तर याचा फुल कोर्स लातूर फ्लाइंग क्लब सुद्धा इथे 1.5 लाखामध्ये घेतो जे की इट्स अ गुड करिअर ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी आहे माझ्याकडे आज 2-3 पायलट्स आहेत जे कमर्शियल पायलट्स ज्यांनी माझ्यासारखं फ्लाइंग करायला शिकले आहेत आणि त्यांनी ह्याच्यामध्ये करिअर घडवलेलं आहे ते आज 12-15 लाख वर्षाचं कमवतात काही पायलट्स माझ्याकडे इथे आहेत मी त्यांचं पण इंट्रोडक्शन करून देऊ शकतो तुम्हाला मुशर्रफ आहे परत सर आहेत कुठे गेले सर श्रीराम सर आहेत सो इथे असे पण लोक आहेत ज्यांनी ह्या स्पोर्ट्स थ्रू स्वतःचं करिअर घडवलेलं आहे आणि त्यामुळे मला माईक सरांची भेट झाली माझी भेटमध्ये 2021-22 आय थिंक मी एका प्रोजेक्टवर काम करत होतो इंग्लंडमध्ये विच वॉज सर्कम्वेंटिंग द होल UK in 80 days. सो आम्ही ह्या छोट्या मशीन्सनी पूर्ण युनायटेड किंगडमला आम्ही चक्कर मारलेला आहे ॲज अ एक्सपेडिशन सो आय वॉज अ पार्ट ऑफ दॅट टीम ॲज अ सपोर्ट स्टाफ सो तेव्हा मला माहिती आणि त्यानंतर 2021ला मी ठरवलं होतं की मी सरांना इथे इंडियामध्ये घेऊन येणार आहे आणि ह्या प्रोजेक्ट थ्रू आपल्याला जॉब ऑपॉर्च्युनिटीज कुठे मिळू शकतात ह्या प्रोजेक्ट थ्रू आपल्याला एक इंटरनॅशनल एक्सपोजर आपल्याला मिळू शकतं का ह्याच्यासाठी मी काम करत होतो तो आज एक खूप महत्त्वाचा खूप चांगला दिवस आहे की आपण ह्या सगळ्या एक्सपर्ट्सना आपल्या इथे घेऊन येऊ शकलो आणि आय एम व्हेरी थँकफुल टू यू that you came here and in conjunction with Latur Flying Club we will take this project forward. We need all of your support and hopefully we can combine aviation and biotechnology and make something magical which is never done before. Thank you.
It's so good to hear your native language, right? So, anyway, thank you for putting up with me and my English. I think if you want to know more about Forestair and its partners, all you need to do is click on the website. It's forestair.org, but you have to go www in front, sorry about that. You can go to the partners' websites. I think that's how you can show quickly. There is Kew Gardens, the BGCI, and the other one is Rainforest Concern. Rainforest Concern has some projects in Kerala. BGCI is, as I said, Hyderabad and in Mumbai, but also in many other areas. These are the BGCI has grown a lot. It was a few years ago, it was a lot less. It's growing fast because it's needed, this kind of work. But what was amazing to me this morning was here in this town, going to visit the people who are planting trees on their spare time. No, and they're not even giving themselves any spare time because they're passionate about it. There was a group of 80 people, which I think you were part of, is that right? And just what their enthusiasm for making Natur into a greener place. And I believe they're responsible for something of the 2 lakh of trees. I don't know what that figure is, but it's about planted in 7 years, which 2 million, is it 2 million trees, is that right? Okay. Right, 2 million trees around Natur, I guess, which is why you have green trees in the streets and everything else. So they are an example, an amazing example. I was very touched by that. I intend to put them in touch with you guys. But anyway, so I'd like to thank you all for taking your time to listen to this. I am inspired. I hope that we can make a way, that we planted a seed in future pilots, biopilots, and organization. It is literally, we are kind of a war.